Bashers. Hey everybody, it is Thursday, April the 17th at 5:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey everybody, how are you? Great emails from everybody today. Thanks so much for joining me this week. This is the wrap up of the week. Tomorrow night, of course, we do our Crazy Fridays with Sheen O'Malley, and that's going to be always fun. I was going to do a walkabout today because it's gorgeous out there right now. But within the next hour or so, they said it's going to get really, really cold. It's going to get windy and horrible. And I was like, all set. I had everything all charged up, ready to go, but not ready to do that. Let's hope the gods at YouTube and the internet don't goof around with my system. I did some cleaning up today. Hopefully that'll help everything out. But next week, we're going to be working on a whole brand new system. Yay, yay, yay. Upwards and onwards, my dear friends. Let's see who started out in the room. And of course, who got in there? Number one, Dave Fahrenheit 451. This guy, I don't know if he is always awake. I did it today. I didn't even do it last night. I posted the thumbnail and I decided to cheer up. I was talking to Emmett yesterday and he was like, man, those thumbnails are really, really dark. And I was like, yeah, they really are. So let's cheer it up a little bit, have a little bit of a side venture and make it a little bit fun because it is Easter coming up. Happy Passover to everybody who celebrates and happy Easter to everyone else who celebrates coming up this week. And I'm very excited for this weekend. I'm going to get to spend some time with the family and that'll be really great. And I hope you guys are too. If regardless of whatever your religious beliefs are or any of that stuff, holidays are a great time just to reconnect with the people that you love, people that mean the most in your life. And let's hope that everybody gets to do that this week. I really, really hope so. And Dave, thanks so much because he says, has Becky Brown ever been number one? We greatly appreciated the Bark and Jack straps. You know, you're an amazing guy, Dave Fahrenheit 451, because not only did you listen, this show is 90% guys, and then the women that we have here are just some of the most extraordinary human beings. Kind, beautiful, funny, generous, amazing women. And you picked a couple this week, and I just want to say you're incredible. And she's never been number one. And she told me a funny story because I talked to the Bashers. That's the great part about it. Like I said, not only has this show been great for me and kept me out from behind the bar and stuff like that, but the connections that I've made and the humanity that I've seen. And people like Becky Brown, who travels the world, as you know, and I've got some photos. She sent some photos today. I let her know that she was Basher of the Day. I sent her a song, of course. And she was so thankful. She said, do me a big favor. Just tell Dave, thank you very, very much for that. You know that on the sidelines, she did the Bark and Jack stuff. She's been extremely generous and kind to the iBashers community and to me specifically. So we love you so much. Thanks so much. And yesterday you picked Jocelyn Bittenbender, which is just incredible. Melly C and Carolyn. And we've got such beautiful, beautiful ladies in the room. It's so guy heavy because it started out with a watch thing, but I just want to just say that thanks so much I wish we had tons more women. I'd like to figure out, I do watch Fashion Police when the show is available, when we can do it, but I don't know. And I know that the girls that are in our show, the women and the ladies that are in the show, they love watches too. But I would also like to find out if there's a way for me to increase the female user base, because maybe we're just not appealing to a couple of things. I hope we are, because we all love cats and so do all the ladies here. But anyway, you picked some great gals and thank you so, so much for that, because she certainly deserves it, because she doesn't make a big noise on the show, but she does behind the scenes. She's just a wonderful, wonderful person. So thank you so very, very much for that. Ray goes, would you ever back off Dave Fahrenheit 451? I don't know how he does it. So anyway, Becky said to me today, she goes, because she was in Japan. As you know, you've seen some Kyoto photographs. She sent us some great photographs from there. She said, a couple of times it popped up and there was nobody in the list yet. And she was going to do it and she just didn't do it. And I'm like, well, you should. Maybe the time difference would have made a difference. I don't know. But I don't know how anybody could be Dave Fahrenheit. At this point in the game, the guy's just Unbelievable. And thanks for that, because it's pretty special stuff. Andrew Wolkowicz, Canadian $5. Loving the thumbnail. Very nostalgic from childhood, and have a great day. Be safe, be kind, and subscribe. Yeah, I needed to lighten up the mood a little bit, because I'm a pretty lighthearted fella. I'm not a dark soul in any way, shape, or form. We all have dark sides. We all do. But this graphic novel that I've been, putting together with the assistance of the AI gods, I just told it last night, make me something that it looks like a comic or a cartoon from the 1960s. Because I don't, listen, I did a lot of work. I don't know what you know or what you don't know is, but growing up with Saturday morning cartoons, which was the big thing here when I was a kid, we had all the Hanna-Barbera stuff, like the Flintstones and the Jetsons and Josie and the Pussycats. Josie and the Pussycats all had great catchy tunes, great animation. It was all terrific stuff. We had so many different ones, and we've talked about them. Yesterday I was talking to Scotty Love about the Foghorn Leg and I say. And then as I got older, and I was, I've been not a working musician, but I've been able to do some work in that area. I started writing music for cartoons. Not exactly the score part, but I would be able to do the voiceovers and or the bumpers, like 60 seconds, 30 seconds, things like that, for this company called Cubo. And the first thing I noticed was, this is all pre-AI. This is probably 2002 to 2016-ish. The animation was absolute crap. And it didn't have any of the hallmarks of animation that when we were kids, the wonder, the artistry, it just got very stale. And I found out as I was working for this company that they were farming out all these, and there's these things called animation farms, and they're mostly in Southeast Asia. They're just like these computer houses that dump out stuff. And so it's not in-house. And of course, with the advent of Disney and Pixar and all this stuff, Pixar I should put first, because Pixar revolutionized computer animation. It's just not as great. And so I've been able to keep my ear to the street as far as like what the kids get. But some of this music that we had, and it also made kids happier. Stuff is so dark nowadays for kids. It's all about why you feel like you've been bullied, or why you feel you're an outsider, or why you're different, or why. None of that stuff existed when I was a kid. They were just cartoons to make us happy, giggle, and laugh. And as a mission statement, I think we're going in the wrong direction. I think we're leading people to think that they're more of an outsider, or they're more different, or none of that. I never felt different. I never felt like an outsider. I never felt bullied. When I look back on it now, I go, oh, I guess so. I guess, I was a pretty nerdy kid. I liked a lot of things that other kids did. I was not a sporty person. My biggest dread growing up was shirts and skins. They would, because I was a chubby kid. The one thing I didn't want was like to be on a team where I had to take my shirt off. And like that was the biggest horror for me. And I was so crap. The only thing I'm good, I'm a strong guy, and I'm bruteful. So the only thing I was good at was dodgeball, which is no longer even allowed in schools. Dodgeball was so fun. You get to take that ball and wing it at the guy you just can't stand and throw it as hard as you can. And it was fun. But it's interesting, the whole thing about the nostalgic stuff. It just reminds me of being happy. Why don't we make stuff that makes people happier? I'm going to give you the big bang boom that belongs only to you. Now, I've got two guys that have things that belong only to them now, which is pretty special. Much to Dean's delight, the kazoo one belongs only to Scotty Love. But yeah, so I wax on about this whole thing about the cartoons, and so I usually show, Paul's an artist. He's a brilliant illustrator, painter. He's amazing. And he gets a kick out of some of these thumbnails, but he really liked this one because he felt it really, really kind of portrayed the type of animation and cartoons that we had when we were kids. It's whimsical and fun. It doesn't have any of the subtext nowadays that, you know, we're like almost alienating our kids and trying to make them all feel like they're different. And it's like, just let them be kids. My parents just let us be kids, go outside and play in the yard. And like, I think about the schoolyards that we had. They were made out of steel and concrete. We had this thing called the jungle gym. Does anybody remember a jungle gym? Jungle gym was a combination of pipes and metal platforms. So it was like a cage, and every other level would have like a diamond plated platform. And it was all metal and steel, and the floor was concrete. And we go out and we get busted up and come home. We were allowed to be kids. It was great. I don't know. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Oh, who cares? I don't know. Who cares? Daniel Gutierrez, number 3, not bad. Hello, Bastards. Great, funny stuff out. Little things like that, like Julian's comments. Just, all you need to do is have a conversation with somebody needs to make a comment, and you opens up the floodgates and makes your brain start thinking about all the stuff from when you were a kid. And, it comes down to the music and art and the stuff that we consume. I finished that show last night that was recommended to us highly, first by Emmett and then by several of you on the show. And it was called Adolescence. And it's a British show. And it's about a little boy who murders a girl who was bullying him. I said I didn't get past the first 2 episodes because it was so difficult to watch. And so we watched the finale last night. We saw it. We finished it. And the 3rd episode, which many of you bashers told me, that's the one where you need to see it. What did I see in that 3rd episode? That kid is a sociopath. When he's interviewed by a psychologist, you see that this kid is in big trouble. And so is the world if he's allowed to live in it. And in the beginning, you feel so bad for this 13-year-old boy. And of course, you feel bad for the girl, but you're not sure whether or not he did it or he didn't do it. He did it. And he doesn't seem very remorseful for it either. And that's why we need cartoons in our lives. Because, man, I just sat there after the last episode and went, oh, my God. And then the final episode is the family and how they learn how to cope with something like that. Listen. I'm sure some of us, many of us, or none of us, but probably some of us have had some person in our family who's had some kind of, could be drug abuse, alcoholism, some kind of criminal activity, and how it was a brilliant show. However, it was so dark. It took me about an hour I needed to put on stand-up comedy to get away from it. And I couldn't find anything funny after that. But, bravo to the producers of that show. And I forget that guy's name. He's a brilliant actor. If you guys know who I'm talking about, he was absolutely incredible. But anyway, I tried to get into the church today and it was closed. And I hate when the church is closed because I want to light a candle for Gus. So I want to put Gus back up on the screen. Where is he? Just to remind everybody, say a little prayer because he's having his surgery today for those lumpy things that they found on him. So, we care about our animal friends. They're super important to this. And that's him with one of his pups, 3 years old. He's a baby and he's a big old Great Dane and he's beautiful. We love you, Gus. And we're thinking of you today. And I hope, I know you're busy today and you can't watch the show. Just know your Basher friends are here for you. And we're thinking about you. So thanks so much. Kevin Landon's in at number 11. Is it 11? No. Oh, no, they didn't remove anything today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're number 4. YouTube willing. I'll be bashing live today with no work. Yay, Kevin Landon's in the room. Best wishes to Dirk and the Bashers. I hope there's good news on Gus. Look at that from the Canine Hospital. When you get a chance, please let us know how he's doing. Jamie, I know that today's going to be a difficult day and you guys are on pins and needles. There's nothing worse than when your loved ones are in the hospital and receiving medical treatment and tests and surgeries and things like that. I've been there. It's terrible. It's the worst. But we're all thinking about you. We're pulling for you, man. Laszlo Rolka says, how does Dave do that? That's a very good question, Laszlo. I have no idea how he does that, but he does it some way or another because he just doesn't sleep. Dave says magic. That's fantastic, man. Thank you so much, both of you. Renaissance, our dear Julian, our resident artist, is here. And he says, personally, I don't think there's intelligent life on other planets. Why should other planets be any different from this one? Boom! I don't have a kazoo. I do. I put them away for Dean. I'll take one out. Oh, that's right. You got a massage. Isn't that weird how it doesn't work unless you do that? Why isn't that working? It's funny. A lot of people wrote me about that yesterday. Listen. Carl Sagan didn't know. He had hope. Carl Sagan had hope. Hope, faith. It's like religion. You hope that there's a God. You hope there's something bigger and better than this. Don't we all? Because what is it all for at the end? You know what it's for? To be kind to others and this planet while we're here, because you don't want to get the punishment at the end. I guess that's really what it's about. Because paradise, make paradise here, make paradise for you and other people and the animals and the nature and the world. You don't need to do that. I mean, it'd be great if we're some kind of non-corporal, beings. This is a great episode of Enterprise. I know I talk about that. Well, I haven't in a while, but where the Enterprise crew meet non-corporeal entities, and they are able to get into you, read your thoughts, and know who you are, and know what you feel, and know what your purpose is. And they realize that they're explorers and they're not bad people. But it's a great episode. I forget what it's called, that episode. I usually know all the titles of those shows because I'm a super nerd. I think it's called The Crossing, I think, but I could be wrong. Anyway. Julian also says, I'm rather relaxed about death. From quite an early age, I've regarded as part of the deal, the unwritten guarantee that comes with your birth certificate. Yeah, I guess, listen, when you're young, you don't think about it. When you're middle-aged, you think about it a lot. Where am I going? What am I doing? What's going to happen to me? And then I think as you get older, you just start to accept it more. I have often said a million times that, I've had great love. I've had great family. I got to do, not to the extent that I wanted to do the music thing, but I've got to sing in front of thousands and thousands of people. I got to make records in a big studio. I got to do a show and meet incredible people. I've done a lot of cool things. I'm not Albert Einstein or Abraham Lincoln or, Joan of Arc or one of these people that'll go down in history, but I don't think that really matters. I think the everyday person and their everyday thoughts and dreams and the things that they do for everybody else is what matters most. Those people just get all the credit, and that's fine, and I don't mind. But I think as we get older, we start to, accept it a little bit more. I went to my doctor and asked for something for persistent wind, and he gave me a kite. I always thought that wind was a really nice word for farting. It's very funny. Wind, it's the kind way. She's passing wind. There were two men eating sandwiches in a pub, and the landlord said, "You can eat your own food in here." So they swapped sandwiches. Wait, I have to read that again. There were two men eating sandwiches in a pub, and the landlord said, "You can eat your own food in here." Oh, so they swapped sandwiches. Very interesting. Orchestras have often been used to conjure up the natural world, swans, sharks, trout, but not, as far as I know, the often maligned jellyfish. Not if you're a big jellyfish fan there, Renaissance. That's an inside joke. I guess, listen, depictions musically of animals and nature, some of them work very well. Whenever you hear a group of woodwinds start to swell, you can feel like you're in the forest. And then the rumble of a timpani drum can be the army rushing towards the scene. It's so many different ways you can depict it. I don't know, because jellyfish, what do? They just kind of wade around. They don't make any sounds, as far as I know. How do you conjure up the sound of a jellyfish? I don't know. It's interesting, though. But it was fun to watch my old friend Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater on an interview show yesterday. And he mentioned, he goes, "Well, I'm a big Elton John, Beatles, Jellyfish fan." And I was like, wow. Jellyfish are this band. You guys know I've talked about them ad nauseum on the show. But if you haven't gotten turned on to them, go check out their 2 albums, Belly Button and Spilt Milk. If you like the Beatles, orchestral music, if you like Carl Stalling, if you like the Partridge Family, if you like Supertramp, if you like Queen, if you like a hodgepodge of orchestrally created pop music, it's really, really well done. Beautiful melodies and fantastic lyrics. Incredible lyric writing. And that's important because, it's not just girls, 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 because that's what's big right now. Franco Fiore is here. Please upvote. Please upvote. Grazie mille, signori. And how are you, Franco? Great to see you in the room. Thumbnail, who wins the coconut? Very interesting. Someone's watching. Talking about a guy with a supreme eye. It is Julian. Ken Furby's here. Hello, everyone. Big shout outs to Dave for the top slot and to Dirk for the new art direction. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we're lightening it up. Yeah, why not? Let's lighten it up. I will tell you this, though, how it started. Here's for instance. So I was working on the thumbnails and I use ChatGPT DALL-E to create them. And I have to generally go through 6, 7, 10 iterations before. Not always, but a lot of the time. And they said, you're now working on like this new beta version, because I'm a paid member of ChatGPT. I just use it for that, for images, DALL-E. And it took much, much longer. And it generates a totally different look. So now, when I started with the graphic novel, it was inspired by the first image because it created this dark, brooding world. And then I asked it to redo it, and it said, "Hey, it sounds to me like you're working on a storyline. Would you like us to help flesh that out?" And I said, "Sure." And then it's been keeping kind of the same kind of graphics along the way. So, yeah, sometimes we need somebody to open up the blinds and let a little sun in so we're not all so dark and depressing. Because, listen, the world is depressing enough with having to deal with all the politics and the stock market and the immigration and the attacks on people's personal liberties. Now we're talking about, U.S. citizens being deported to... How can you deport a person that's from another... From where do you deport them to? That sentence doesn't even make any sense. So maybe we need to add a little bit of light and fun into the conversation, and hopefully we can do that with art and music, because those are the things that we use to distract us from the things in the world. Like we watch a great movie, and Becky Brown was asking me to watch A Complete Unknown, and I couldn't find it on any of my channels last night. It wasn't even available to rent, so because I wanted to watch it. All the other ones, I've seen all the other ones. The other one I didn't see was I saw part of The Brutalist, and it was just so long I couldn't take it. So I really wanted to see all the nominees, and who won in the end was Adrian Brody for best actor. Yeah, he's a good actor. I don't know what it is about that guy, but I'm going to give him a hall pass because of the great work he does for the animals, especially when they had the wildfires in California this year. That guy showed up with a hat on and a hood on and a jacket, did not say who he was, and he volunteered to help. There was no publicity involved. He was there for a couple of days before people realized, oh shit, that's Adrian Brody. And he was there doing amazing work. So you know what? Hall pass. I'm not criticizing him in any way. He's a terrific actor, great actor. But every year it's just ridiculous. I think award shows are so stupid at this point in the game. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, Becky Brown was telling me that she thought that Timothée Chalamet was absolutely astonishing, and I really wanted to see that film. It's apparently shot. They shot it in New York down at Greenwich Village, and they spent quite a while reshaping it to look the way it looked in the 60s. Now, of course, I wasn't there in the 60s, so I don't know. Well, technically I could have been, because I lived in part of the 60s, but I was there in the 70s big time. So I would love to see what they did with it. And hello, Ken Furby. Great to see you. Watch out, kitty cats. That's not a clown. That's right. I figured out a way to make it light and funny and still have Mr. Vellum in there, because somebody's gonna... Don't shoot that guy. Congratulations at Dave Fahrenheit 451 takes the title back. Happy Thursday, bashing. But he's this benevolent and magnanimous guy. Just look what he does every single time he wins it. But once in a while we'll have to throw him a song because he deserves it. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Oh, I just got in a Gallery of Bastards from our own Jim Lassick. And we love you, Jim. How are you? Good to see that you're there. Melly C is here. Happy Friday Eve, Dirk, and all the Bashers. Yeah, I was really looking forward to doing I have I'll tell you what I did. Because my coverage, I use AT&T as for my phone service here. Just so happens that, now with these eSIMs, you can actually, so I put this T-Mobile app on my phone and I bought a $50 unlimited. So when I use it, it'll be good for a month. Unlimited. And the coverage of T-Mobile in New York City is way, 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 way better. So I don't have to leave my family plan. I can just shut off the AT&T service and use the T-Mobile. So I was all ready to go. Everybody's all charged up and ready. And then it started getting really windy outside. It was warm, about 62 degrees, but then it started getting really, really windy. And then they said, careful, high winds. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll do. There's going to be plenty of, and also, I guess I can tell you that the other plan for today's, bash about, we were on a bash about to the ends of the earth, was I was going to have a guest with me, and it was going to be Carolyn Martian, the girl with the wrench, and she was going to bring the puppy with her, and we were going to do the unveiling of the name, but the puppy has not had its shots yet, so 100% understand why we can't take that beautiful puppy to the park. So that will happen soon, and I was really looking forward to spending time with her because she's my friend. Marta's here and Bronson. Upvote and subscribe. Please do if you can. Great to see you in the room. And how was you? Did you send us a shot of the big majestic bastard today? We'd love to see it. Steve Mac 3, our other fabulous photographer. Hi, everyone. I hope we are all well today. The same to you, Steve Mac 3. We're all hoping that you're well. And thank you for all those beautiful photographs you've been sending us. You're really coming around there as a fabulous photographer. Dirk, sorry, I might have sent more photos than I intended to. I see 3. Is that a lot? No. Hey, send as many pictures as you want, dearest Raphael. It's your show. I just host it. Remember that. It's no big deal. Carlos Poggy's in the room. Dirk, sorry, might have sent more. Hold on, that's you again. Carlos Poggy says, howdy, Bashers. Howdy, Carlos. Looking great with your beautiful watch. I'm wearing my Weekender today. I'm wearing my Woodstock today. I don't know why. There's no blue on this. I don't know why it's doing that. Because anything blue in the room gets effed up because of my green screen, my blue screen. There it is. Why is that doing that? There's no blue. Oh, I bet you it's the Indiglow underneath it. If I look at it, look at that. I bet you that's what that is. I bet you that it can see underneath that is Indiglow, which glows in blue. I love Indiglow. Can I just say how much I love those things? They're very, very cool. Shane McGee says, I'm done with my Jimi Hendrix. It's gone. And oh boy, it was some experience. Jimmy, can I tell you, I got a very, very cool suggestion from Ginge today. He said, can I suggest or request a topic for a show or a segment? As a non-musician, but definitely a music lover, I know nothing about guitars that you talk about on the show. To an uninformed viewer, if they are electric, then how do they sound so different and why are their preferences? I feel like I learn a lot of stuff from Machine when he talks about wine or cigars, and I'd like to understand more about guitars and why they inspire such loyalty. Your nerding out about speakers and amps was fascinating. Well, I found some compatriots with that. I could do a show on that, and I'll have to prep it, but I can briefly give you a brief lesson on that. This is more important. Ladies and gentlemen, from James Scott. Gus update. Vet was able to remove the tumor. It was the size of a football. It did rupture his bowel, so they had to repair that. Big risk of infection is next hurdle. But in post-op, oh gosh, James, Jesus, James. A football. I know we're talking about a Great Dane, and we're talking about there's a lot of real estate in there, but my Lord. But what was it? What could that be? What could be that large? A football. And are you talking about soccer? You're not talking about American football. You're talking about like a soccer ball. It did rupture his bowel. I'm sorry. Oh boy, I'm sorry to hear this. So they had to repair that. Big risk of infections. So I guess they're going to be just giving you guys a lot of antibiotics for the next couple of weeks just to make sure that Gus stays in check and doesn't get any kind of infection. All the prayers in the world to you, all the love in the world to you and to Gus. And thank you for spending the time to get on the show and let us know how he's feeling. And you sent it at 5:07. I've been rattling on and on and on and on. James, we're thinking about you, man. We're really thinking about you. Thanks so much. Melly C says, James, prayers for a speedy recovery for a beautiful Gus. Yeah, we're all thinking that so much right now, because we hate it when our friends, our beautiful pet friends, are not feeling well. And how did it get so big? What was it? Let's just pray that it's not some kind of cancerous nonsense, and that it's just can I just tell you, I have a friend. You guys don't know who this friend is. She's a lifetime friend of mine. She's never been on the show. She has nothing to do with the show. I've invited her on the show because she's very talented. She always says no. She's a private person. She has a tumor in her head, and she's had it there, but it's a fatty tumor, and it grew very, very fast. Some point in time, she's going to have it removed, but they don't do it because they're afraid it's right behind her ocular nerves and things like that. But if they can get a fatty tumor out of there and it's not cancerous, I mean, or if they can get if it's even cancerous and they can get it and it's walled and they can contain it, then the prognosis is generally very good. So prayers to you, buddy. Prayers to you. And keep us posted on every little thing, please. They must have used a lot of anesthesia for that big boy. Andy M is here. Good day, kind sir. Wishing you and yours only good things. Only good things. Let me go find that banner. I have so many banners now. I got to start doing some housekeeping. Only good things. Thank you, Andy M, for all your kindness and all those things that you say. Thank you so much. Let me get rid of that banner now. Thank you, buddy. Let me go back. Okay, let's see. There's more from him, so I'll get to that. Okay, let me get to that now. Yeah, that's where that was. There was a second one. Vet told us going in that his chances weren't good. 80% chance he may not make it out of surgery. It's great to have a positive place online like the show. Thanks, Dirk. Oh, man. I hear you, James. And yeah, keep us posted on every little thing because that his well, he's out of surgery though, right? That's the latest. Is that the latest? Let me run through this really quickly. Here is. Vet said that he would send. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you have a place, that we all have this place to talk about this stuff. Vet said he would send it off to confirm, but he thinks it's non-cancerous and possibly something he ate or swallowed a long time ago that the body tried to heal itself and just grew into this mass. Wow. That is unbelievable. Out of surgery, will be under their care until Saturday or maybe Monday. Yes, so inpatient. I'll tell you, I told you guys, and I told James especially yesterday, that I grew up with Irish Wolfhounds, which they're Great Dane big. They're the two biggest breeds of dogs in the world are Great Danes and Irish Wolfhounds. Now, when Mick 2 was a puppy, I think he was about 4 months old, he got very, very, very ill. And we found him at the bottom of the basement stairs, and it looked like he had fallen. Now, I grew up in this kind of big old house, and kind of not rickety, but the basement stairs were quite rickety. And somehow he wound up down the basement stairs. The basement stairs were kitchen, stairs, a landing for the side door, and then the basement. And we scooped him up. We brought him to the vet, and they said that they took all kinds of tests, and they couldn't figure out exactly what it was. And then they did a blood test and found an incredible amount of sodium in his bloodstream. And we were trying to figure it out. And I don't remember who found it, but they found like a canister of table salt, like that was chewed up and eaten. apparently, and then they found carton that came out in his poop later on. They had found out that this puppy had gotten into a salt container and he ate the entire thing. And he recovered, and he lived very long, almost 14 for a great big sized dog like that. That's a very long life for them. Never long enough for us, as you know. But that's what he did. So when you say that you think Gus ate something, it probably got lodged in his bowels. That's why it did it. That sounds very, very feasible, and his body just couldn't push it through, and it kind of grew into it. That is absolutely fascinating veterinary information. But still, the chance now, if it's not cancerous and it is that stuff, it's just a matter of it's out, and probably all this tissue probably grew around it. You know, all the scar tissue. That's probably why it got so big. What he ate, I guess you're going to find out when the lab comes back. So we're going to do our In Nomine Patri Filii Spiritus Sancti for you, my friend, and for Gus, because wow, it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Wow. Thank you for keeping us updated. That's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Something he ate. Incredible. Again, Melly C says prayers, James, for a speedy recovery. I know he'll be okay. I know he will. I know it. I know it. I know it. Kevin Landon, thanks for the update on Gus, keeping fingers crossed and good thoughts and vibes flowing for a full recovery. Amen to that. Andy M likes the thumbnail. Thanks, pal. Kevin Landon, I think we're around the same age, right? The Jungle Gym. I'm going to be 60 in June. How fucked up is that? How fucked up is that? How did that happen to me? I'm going to be 60 in June. June 15th is my birthday. 60. I'm not going to. Listen, one thing that's never going to happen is I will never have a birthday party for myself. I have no problem going to people's birthday parties, but I like to go hide. Maybe we'll do a birthday show or something fun like that, and we'll just get drunk and have fun together. But like the idea of I'm so grateful that I have a partner that will never, ever throw me a surprise party. Never, ever in a million years throw me a surprise party, because that's the last thing I would want in the world. But we're probably around the same age, right? Maybe plus or minus a couple of years. But yeah, jungle gyms were fun. And we got, man, how many? I never broke a bone in my life, even with all the mountain biking that I did. And I was close to semi-professional as far as like mountain biking went. I was really good downhill cyclist, fearless. I fell off. I once went down on my Cannondale. I went down a ski lift, took the ski lift up to a mountain, went up the hill and went all the way down. And then just as I was getting to the bottom where it starts to curve down, I hit something and I rolled probably 16 times. I never broke a bone. But man, in the jungle gyms and all the parks and stuff that they had for kids back then, I'd come home bloodied like crazy all the time. Beautiful Sharon. Speaking of our beautiful women, hi. I have a different outlook on the topic of kids. I have 2 kids and 2 grandchildren. They have a fabulous childhood. Well, they have a fabulous childhood because of you. That's why they do. That's why. 2 grandchildren. How is that even possible? And you look like that. It's incredible. That's the one thing that I have to say that's great about modern times is, people look younger than they used to. Like, I know I'm not saying I look like I'm 30, but I know that like when I was a kid, 60-year-old guys looked like old men. They'd have like bad slacks on and, they would just look older. And you look like a beautiful Hollywood starlet. I just worry about the subject matter because now we've just gotten to the point where there's so much dark stuff. There is beautiful stuff too. I mean, Inside Out. Does anybody seen Inside Out? Man, I don't think I've ever cried so much in a movie in my entire life. Ever. And my favorite Pixar movie is WALL-E. I think it's not as my favorite Pixar movie. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. It's so beautiful. But Inside Out, it was so amazing that I've not seen Inside Out 2 because I have to be prepared for that level of sobbing. I think the worst. Listen, we all cry when we lose people. Like when Laverne left me, I don't think I stopped crying for weeks, and I had like broke every capillary in my face. But Inside Out did that to me too, which was crazy. Andy M. Climbing frame. Concrete got changed to tarmac for health And safety, bones bounce on tarmac, bones break on concrete. Yeah, I know, but nobody was paying any attention. I mean, they were trying to kill us. They were trying to kill us. And it's funny, like roads. When I was a kid, all the highways here, all the motorways were all made out of concrete. And I will say this, that when you ride on concrete, it used to go chikunk, 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 chikunk. That's where they got Jive Talking from the Bee Gees. They're going over a road in Miami, and it went chikunk, 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 chikunk. Jive Talking was written that way because Barry heard that beat, and he went, oh, 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 Jive Talking. Dun, dun, dun. He was singing along to the beat that he heard. Now all of the asphalt. We have a guy on the show that's in the asphalt business. It's a different material, so cars feel differently when you travel in them because concrete's a much harder thing, and of course, tar or any of the materials that they make out of like tennis. Tennis used to be on concrete or grass, and now it's on several different types of materials. Hard, true. There's lots of different things. Crazy stuff. 13th again, my favorite number. Yeah, of course 13's your favorite. Of course it is. I believe it. Sharon says, yes, James, I hope Gus will be healed. We do. We so hope. And the beautiful Robin's bird. I lived on the monkey bars. Great news on Gus. Let's all keep our prayers front and center for our dear Gus. It's important. You lived on the monkey bars. See, we've got such amazing women on the show. And I love the energy we get from the gals here. It's great stuff because, guys, we're just, the worst. Melly. God bless Gus, praying for you all, wishing only good things, Andy M. And Melly C. I love that you guys are friends. Look at this. The girls are all packing together. We need more. We need in the United States of America, we need a female president. I've said that forever. I've said it forever. Women know how to delegate way better than any man in the whole wide world. They definitely do. We're all like, truck. Gibson Les Paul. I will do a show. I wouldn't want to bore the crap out of people, but Ginge asked about that. It's a lot to talk about. We could do a show on that. No problem. Hi, Robin Spirit. These guys are great. Ray says, unfortunately, this planet has humans at the top of the predatory scale. Yeah, that's why I said what we need right now is, I pray that there is. Listen, there's definitely life. 100%. I hope I didn't misspeak. I think that the universe is teeming with life. It's everywhere. It's just too far away for us. It's impossible to think of a universe that has an infinite amount of stars and planets, and it's infinite. There's no way for us. There is no number big enough for us to calculate. There's not a number that's big enough for us to even calculate the distances, because we're only seeing the observable universe. That's all we see. Who knows what's after that? Who knows what really happened? There's tons of it. Just the only way to do it is this. A piece of paper? Yeah, here's a piece of paper. This is the only way to do it. Ready? The only way to do it. I'm going to take a piece of paper. You guys know this. Some of you do. Some of you don't. So here's Earth, right? And here's Alpha Centauri, right? Right? And that is 4.32 light years away, right? Right? It's too far. We have no way to do this, no way to get there. But we could do this. That's the only way to do it, is to bend space-time. That's the only way to do it, because we now know a couple of things about physics, and that's basically what the Alcubierre drive is. They find a way to bend space-time. That's apparently what wormholes do. Now, we've never found a wormhole, but we're pretty sure that they do exist. Of course, they're all over sci-fi and all that stuff. We need to bend space-time. We need to bend it. And then, boom. We're there. Very cool. I haven't watched it yet. I have not watched it yet. Bald and Bankrupt uploaded a Ukrainian visit today. Extremely disturbing and depressing, but worth the look. He's always amazing. One of my favorite shows, Julian. I love him. He's so great. One of the biggest YouTubers. Well, he's probably not. He's got 5 million subscribers. It's quite a bit. But what he does is he goes, he's thrown out of Russia permanently. He's not allowed in Russia because, they're paranoid about everything, just like the Trump administration is paranoid. It's just, what dictators are afraid of. They're afraid that people are going to dethrone them and take them out of power. And he was thrown out. He did do a couple of sketchy things, which were cool for us. He was in... He went to the Space Center, which has been long closed off when they had the Russian version of the space shuttle. Him and that beautiful girl. My God, was she beautiful? I don't know if it's his girlfriend or what, but he met her at some road stop, and they went and they walked for days, and they got to the launch center, and they finally got busted. They were eventually released, but he was ejected from Russia permanently. So he's not allowed in there. So Ukraine he can go to. And he speaks so many languages. Did you see his last episode where his Chinese was conversational? That guy's amazing. I love him. I absolutely love him. Yeah. Kevin Landon says to James Scott, never give up hope. We're not those type of people here. No, we're not. We never give up hope. Talking about surgery, Mork just got up and left the room. They understand more than we will ever know. They sure do. They know what we're thinking. They know what we're saying. They know our tone. And they always know when you're about to take them to the vet, don't they? Because they always start to either disappear or hide or any of that stuff. Carlos Paggi with the big prayers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Gus is our breeder male. He's fathered 31 puppies to date, over 3 litters, and he's only 3 years old. He literally sleeps under a blanket with me nightly and the biggest lap dog in the world. Oh, James. Oh, man. Yeah. Drew B, 60. Where do you buy your adrenochrome? Yeah. I'll fall apart, Drew. I will fall apart eventually. Thank you for the coffee in my beautiful, my Drooby Doo coffee. This stuff is amazing for anybody who doesn't know. I have the grinder in my studio. How up is that? This is the stuff that I've been drinking courtesy of him. This is JBC coffee. Cajamarca, Peru. This stuff is amazing. And I'm drinking it right now. And it is absolutely, man, the smell of this stuff is outrageous. Wow. Yeah. It just reminds me of when I was a little kid and my mother would go to the supermarket. We never had coffee in our house because we're Irish. We didn't drink coffee. I had yet to enjoy it. And I would smell the coffee and I didn't know what it was. And the store by us was called A&P. And that was a very big chain. It's now defunct, but it was one of the biggest in America. And they had their own brand of coffee. It was called 8 o'clock coffee, which I believe that still exists because they spun it off. And finally, I went up to it one day and it went like that. And somebody said, what brand does your mommy drink? And I said, drink what? I didn't even know what coffee was. I was a little boy. I had no idea. I'd never seen it, tasted it. And then I finally tasted it years later and I went, oh. So who knows? But thanks, Drooby. Thanks for the coffee, baby, and thanks for the nice my adrenochrome. Well, I get it from all the Hollywood elite, of course. Dirk, you are younger than I am. Oh, okay. Well, okay. I figured we were in the same boat because we have the same kind of references, Because listen, if you said some things to some kids today, like I asked Emmett last night if his kids like that Benson Boone guy. Hey. Because he's great. But he's so good and so natural and he really can sing. I'm wondering if it's a little too pedestrian for kids because they like kind of over amplified beats and auto-tuned vocals and stuff. This guy actually can sing and dance and he's really natural thing. We look for certain things, our reference points are all kind of, when you're in an age group, you mention some things to some people and they won't get it. Like, whose book I'm reading right now? Sebastian Bach. I've got a lot of stories about Sebastian Bach because we've never been friends or anything, but I've met him many, many times for lots of different reasons. And I've always thought of him as a colossal asshole. because he was, and he admits it in the book, because he was always doing way too much blow and just being a colossal douche. This is a guy that like led the rock and roll lifestyle. And I only reason why, because it came up on my Audible subscription, and I had a credit, because I'm a monthly subscriber, so they give me a book. It's not a free book because I subscribe to it, but I was like, I belong to the library. Let me see if that book's for free, and it was. So I started listening to it, and man, holy crap! I mean, he was best friends with Axl and Lars Ulrich, and so my manager used to work for their manager, and so we had, and their offices were in the same building. They were managed by John Bon Jovi's manager, Doc McGee, who manages Kiss and stuff like that. And my manager used to work for Doc. And there's a story that I'm not allowed to tell, nor will I on here, but he got set up. My manager got set up with his own management company for something very special that he did for Doc McGee. So when I would have to go up to Doc McGee's office for lots of different things. So I met Sebastian a couple times, but the real reason I knew him was because we had the same lawyer. And I had a lawyer named Michael Guido. Michael Guido was probably the best lawyer in the business at the time. And like, we needed him because we had this record deal in Europe, and we were offered a huge worldwide deal with Mercury Polygram Records, which was, holy crap, like one of the big labels at the time. It doesn't exist anymore. And we had a lawyer who was very, very nice, but ultimately wasn't helping us. So I approached Michael Guido because I had met him at a party, and I said, would you represent us? I said, we have this multi-million-dollar deal that's going to go the way of the dodo. And it did, because he couldn't figure out how to get us out of it. But I met Sebastian. Two things happened. Dumb me, my lawyer said, hey, I've got this band that John Bon Jovi's working with, and they're looking for a singer. Would you be interested? Because the problem was that the lawyer that I had was constantly, he wasn't the guy trying to put me in other groups, but like the labels would be like, we like Dirk, but we have this project. And it wasn't like they didn't like my band or anything. It was like they had lots of bands that didn't have singers, and singing was very competitive back then. It was like the singers were the hardest people to find back then. They had the crappy Vince Neils, but then you had the guys like Sebastian's a great singer. I would never take that away from him. That's his range, and he was so beautiful. He's just way too tall. He's like 6'6". He's a huge guy. But he was very pretty in the videos. So I actually said, no, I'm not interested, and never even heard the demos or any of that stuff. So he was like, I'm going to give you the demos. They're great songs. And I remember he had like Youth Gone Wild and I Remember You and 18 in Life. Those were on, like, I saw the demo tape. I was like, no, I'm like totally, I was all in on my band. So then after he got the gig and I heard the album, and I said immediately that this is going to be a huge album, because the songwriting was just outrageous. And how did I get on this whole thing? I don't know. Who cares? Anyway, Sebastian Bach, I'm reading his book, and boy, he did more blow than I even thought he did. I was once in a club, and it was out on Long Island. I had no idea he was going to be there. I forget why we were there, but it was a rock and roll club. And Sebastian was there. He's like, hey, hitman guy, because he's got a really high voice. He's like, hey, man, hey, hitman singer guy. He goes, I'm hanging out with like this guy. They were all other people in the music business. He goes, we're going in the back. And I said, okay. And he's like, come on, I want to show you something. And I went back there, and there was a mountain of cocaine. And he was like, dude, we just got hooked up with the greatest amount of blow. And everybody was doing cocaine. Everyone but me and Jim Bakke. And I was like, I'm good, thanks. And then he did so much coke that night. He was off the rails, going crazy. I think he might have gotten arrested that night. Very possible. But anyway, I'm reading his book, and it is fascinating. It is quite fascinating, I have to say. Very interesting. I joined at the worst time talking about crying and children getting hurt and bloodied. I'm very confused. You know how this show goes. I cannot juggle. If anybody knows how to juggle and can teach me how to juggle, I would be grateful. Melly C says, Sharon, you are a glam ma. She sure is. Indeed, she is. We're talking about Carolyn Martin and I are in the same age ballpark too. So, remember Jungle Gyms when you used to just metal and steel and concrete? The film Glory makes me cry every single time. Melly, not so much. Me, I'm a big time sloppy crying fool. Me too, Andy. I'm a big, tough, pathetic, crying wet. Yeah, me too. I get all that way. Hey, Miami Manny. Can I just say, Miami Manny, best dressed. I watched all the Watches and Wonders, all the watches. Look at that. Look at the sartorial elegance of this gentleman with that double-breasted. Absolutely, look at that butter yellow. That is the most beautiful thing. I said, and I was watching this with Paul, I'm like, Manny must have brought at least 6 jackets with him. I don't know if they're parts of suits, but some of them I could tell were blazers. It's like, look at this guy, impeccable. People are wearing Skechers. People are wearing sneakers. People are wearing shorts. People are watching Amazon things. People are wearing all kinds of crazy stuff. And this guy looks like he just came from the tailor. His hair is perfect. His accessories are perfect. His jacket is perfect. Manny, you are an inspiration. I hope it rubs off on some people. People, stop buying your clothes on Amazon. Where is the Jupiter 2 on your drawing? I could do that. Dun, 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 dun. 2 theme songs. You know who wrote the theme song for Lost in Space? John Williams. He was Johnny Williams at the time. Isn't that crazy? Amazing. I love it. Where's the Jupiter 2? Traveling at the speed of light, it would take more than 1,300 years to get to this new planet with possible life. Probably not good holiday destination. Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, listen, I'm not going to belabor the point about Proxima Centauri, which is the closest star to Earth, 4.3 light years away. It's a red dwarf. There's no life on red dwarfs. They're tidal. All the planets are tidally locked. They're very small. They are extremely combustible. There's too much radiation. They're very volatile. We're a main sequence yellow star. We're like the perfect star for life and all that stuff. We're not the Earth, even with every once in a while we have some big coronal outburst. Not going to happen. I agree. JBB, hey, of course, an astronaut traveling at the speed of light wouldn't age. So what's 1,300 years in the scheme of things? Remember when everybody was in cryogenic tubes when you were a kid in space travel? If I touch the cat carrier, Morgan Mindy evaporate like darkness at dawn. That's true. Hey, Carlos Ragoza. How are you? The universe is filled with spiritual life, not to get religious, but is Easter season. Bring it on, my friend. Per scriptures, Daniel 2:44. Soon God will intervene with human affairs and finally bring peace and security. Can we get him right now? Because we have this maniac right now that needs to be stopped. It's just, the light is here. You see it. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm a spiritual cat too. Listen, I'm a Catholic, my friend. And unapologetically, I take what I want from it and I leave what I don't want. But listen, I'm there forever. I remember you as an awesome song. He's a great singer. He's just, I didn't realize how much drugs he did. He also says he did heroin. I was like, oh my God. He tried it. Whatever. I'm afraid to try anything. Hey, Vasilios P. Great to see you from Greece. I love that lunar shot. Fantastic. Good evening to all. And thanks for that message, Carlos. Thank you very, very much. Sebastian Bach was in Gilmore Girls. Was he on that? I didn't know that. That's my sister's favorite show. You guys know that too. Hey, yay, Jim Lassick, 1999. A&P stands for the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company. My father worked for the chain in the 60s, and I worked my way through college at a store in the 70s. I have some great grocery stories to tell. Jim, my sister Pat worked at the A&P, the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company. I just didn't want to get all crazy with that. So my sister's high school job, and she worked there for quite a long time. She was a checkout gal, and she met her boyfriend, Tom, who I believe was in the butcher department, the meat department. I think that's what he did. But it was right down on Hillside Avenue. It was right down the hill from where we were. And we used to go there all the time. It was great. And it was the biggest chain. I think the oldest supermarket chain in America is called King Cullen, and it still exists. And A&P, the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company, they had I think, the most amount of stores, and then they folded because they merged with or became the Food Emporium or whatever. I had a supermarket job as a high schooler at a place called Shopwell, which was owned, ready for this, by A&P. They were huge. Great stories. I'd love to hear all your stories, Jimmy Lassick. Thank you so much. Let's give you a big bang giant boom for that. 20 balloons. I don't have tear ducts. You don't cry at movies? Or do you really not have tear ducts? Do you have to use artificial tears? Is that a real thing? I don't know the real story there, but interesting. Ray says, Jim Lassick. Why didn't somebody take out Dr. Smith? Can I say this also, people? Has anybody seen the Netflix remake of Lost in Space? Now, I'm a huge crazy fan of Lost in Space. Now, of course, we all know it's only 2 seasons, and the first season was very scientific and very serious, and the second one got 60s campy, changed the theme song, lots of stuff. The Lost in Space that they did on Netflix was miraculous. It was beautiful. Dr. Smith was Parker Posey, and she wasn't Dr. Smith. I don't want to tell you if you haven't seen it. First of all, that series must have cost $1 trillion. It's so expensive looking. It's so beautiful. And they have the Jupiter too, but they explain it. They're part of this bigger system on the way to Alpha Centauri. And there's many spacecraft, and they just happen to be the Jupiter too. It's incredible because there's lots of Jupiters. It's so great. I can't recommend that. I was obsessed with that, and I cried like a baby because the robot on that show, they explained, whoever wrote that used the story and made it so much more intense. It will knock your socks off. It will knock your socks off. It was great. Carlos Ragoza says, you're welcome at the iBashers anytime, buddy. Did you guys hear about today's shooting at FSU? I did not, Daniel Gutierrez. Are you kidding me? What happened? Let me go look. You want to know what I was looking at before? Just before we go and look at some scary stuff. This is what I was looking at earlier. This is how stupid I am. This is what I was watching right before the show. How rich is Lenny Kravitz?
AD, welcome to Hotel de Roxy. Come on in.
This is his Parisian home. Like, holy shit. I always knew he had this house, but this is Architectural Digest. Look at this. First of all, Lenny Kravitz is amazing. Look at the style of this place. Is that insane? I mean, that's what you want. Look at that. And by the way, I'll probably get in trouble for showing that, but that piano is a handmade brand new Steinway that he worked closely with them. Amazing. Let's see what happened at FSU. Holy shit. Shit. 2 killed and 5 injured in mass shooting at Florida State University. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. God. What is going on? What is with everybody? Now it's a college. That is not something that you see that often. Where is that tab? There it is. Okay. Let's see what they say. What is this, CNN? 2 killed and 5 injured. What does it say? 2 people who were not students were killed and 5 others wounded in a shooting today at Florida State in Tallahassee. According to local police, officers shot the suspected gunman who's now hospitalized. The suspect is a 20-year-old FSU student and the son of a local sheriff's deputy. They said they found a handgun that used to be his mother's service weapon. A shotgun was found in the student's union. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's send out some good energy to these people. God, it's horrible. Every day there's something new. No, I don't cry during sad movies. Wow, that's crazy. And Jim Lask says, Ray, good to be with you, brother. It's great to see you in the room, buddy boy. Time for the Gallery of Bashtards because I've been going on so goddamn much and talking like crazy. Who cares?
The Gallery of Bashtards. Send me the shots, the sublime views of the Gallery of Bashtards. You share them with me, and I share with
Thank you so much. Let's start out with Andrew Wolkowicz with some Morgana action. Oh, was that a video? Okay, hold on. I didn't realize I got to download a video. If you can send videos, just do me a favor. Send a thing that just says video. I mean, I almost know at this point that with Ray it's usually videos. Okay, here we go. Window. Here we go. What do we got? That's not what I wanted. Wow. Okay. One moment, please. Screen share. That's what I want. That was like an infinity mirror, wasn't it? There it is. It's very dark, Andrew. Okay. What is going on here? At least you don't have white socks on tonight. Oh, she's amazing. Wouldn't it be so great if a string was just that much fun? Oh. And I always wonder why they give up after a couple of minutes and then they go right back to it as if, oh yeah, the string. I forgot about the string. You see, they can't get enough of it. What is that? What kind of string is that? Thank you so much, Andrew. That was very sweet. She's beautiful. Thank you. Steve McLeod, Cochlin, Morayshire. Let's have a look. Oh, how interesting. Wow. Look at that. Oh, this is very cool. Look at this. It's like through a deteriorating home. Very interesting. Oh, this was probably a beautiful place at one time, I bet. That's wow. Oh, look at that. Hey, what is that? It's a Stingray amp. Missing Persons. I just watched the Dale Bosey. It was very hard to watch. She's a very eccentric and weirdo person. Can we talk about that? Do you realize what that is? That's an amp that belonged to it. That might have been Warren Cucurullo's amp. That Missing Persons was Terry Bozzio and his wife Dale Bozzio and Warren Cucurullo and other people that I should know their names, but nobody walks in LA. Oh. Look at that amp. That amp is that's Missing Persons. That belonged to one of them. Did you know about this? What is this place, etc., etc., etc.? I'm fascinated by that. How cool is that? How cool is that? Steve McLeod of the Clan McLeod. Our artist in residence, Julian. What will he bring for us today? Zenith Bank. Aldo. Oh, you have Aldo there too? Look at that. I love that they kept the cabs in London to look the same. I know that these are the newer versions of them, but they're just so cool and so iconic. By the way, I don't know how it works in London town, but nobody uses yellow cabs in America anymore. In New York, the yellow cab business, you used to have this license and it was called a medallion. And they were worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And with that medallion, you could get a car and you could drive a taxi. And everybody, it was like almost like a Bitcoin. It was volatile, but it had great value. I had a friend that I work with, this wonderful guy from Bangladesh named Sahel. I love that guy. We all left during the pandemic because the restaurant closed, but he had a medallion and they were worth, I think he paid like $300,000 for 2 medallions. And then they were up to like 600 and they're basically close to worthless now. They're just Why use yellow cabs when you can go and get an Uber and it's cheaper? It's just so prohibitively expensive to use a yellow cab. I can tell you the last time I was in a yellow cab because it was live on this show. It was the one where I was on the east side and I said, I'm going to get to the Bethesda fountain in 40 minutes. And it took me over an hour, but I jumped in a cab and went to Central Park. And that's how it worked out. That was the last time. What was that? A year and a half ago? I think it was. Very cool. I can't even tell what's happening with this apple, but I'm intrigued, Julien. Ooh, that's a scary image. Now, was that some kind of signage? Is that an advertisement? Beautiful. Oh, look at that. HSG. Wow. Oh, wow. What is... I'm so confused. That is beautiful, Julian. How in the world? Oh, it's, you have, man, with Julian's work, sometimes you have to really just stare at it and then you see the stuff. Steve Mac 3 says, I found this amp sitting out in the wild at a house I was surveying. Looks dumped as far as I can tell. Go grab that amp. That amp is worth something, dude. That is Missing Persons. Do you know that band Missing Persons? She just did an interview with the guy from the Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan. She's an eccentric, incredible. Look at this shot. This is amazing. Greg, go grab that amp. It's probably Warren Cucurullo's amp. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, Julian. Huh. Those two, what do you call those? Pilasters? What do you call ballards? That's what they are, ballards. Oh, of course, that's beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Man, they don't make that anymore. Look at this vaulted ceiling with the rosettes. Gorgeous. Have I seen this in a movie, Julian? Have I seen this? I feel like I've seen this. Is this an abbey? Where is this? I feel like I've seen this in motion pictures. Beautiful. Oh, wow. A gazebo. I've heard people say gazebo. I've never said it's gazebo. It's in a gazebo. Beautiful. Oh. The autumn leaves of red and gold. The autumn leaves. Beautiful. Very melancholy shot, Julian. Look at this. Only you could make events look artistic and beautiful. Only you could do that. But look at the tree in the background. It's almost whispering to us. Beautiful. Beautiful shots, Julian. If that's magnificent. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Always a treat. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, thank you. That amp, I want to pull that amp up. I want to pull that amp back up. Where was it? Melly C has never taken an Uber. I mean, that's all we take now because they're so much cheaper than taxis. It costs like $4 or $5 just to put your ass in the chair now. And then it's like $1 or something. I don't even know what it is anymore, but it's just so expensive. Here it is. Okay, so Stingray amp. Let me go look at something real quick. Hold on. See if I can find an old shot of them with maybe that amp. I might be able to find it. I mean, they haven't. Oh, they're still performing. Oh, shit. Wow, I didn't realize that they were still playing. I didn't realize that. But that amp, that's Missing Persons. That's a famous band's amp. Now, I'm wondering, was this a studio? Where is this? Rufus says, I once took an Uber from Boston to Cape Cod. Well, that must have been expensive. Yeah, beautiful stuff, though, by the way, man. Is that far away, or can you go grab that amp? That's very cool. By the way, that's extremely vintage. And that's just sitting there. And it looks like a bass amp to me. I'm not exactly sure. I'm super familiar with lots of different amps. This one eludes me, but it looks like there might be other stuff there. But that look at it's got the stencil on the side. That's very interesting stuff, buddy. Very, very interesting. Very, very. You monsters make such interesting people. Melly C, some Eminem madness, Morgan Mindy madness, yeah. Hello, buddy boy. Look at you, you handsome Brutus, you. He looks serious right now. Oh, these are such serious morgue shots. Was he disturbed? He doesn't seem like he would mind being disturbed. He just wants a big scratchy head, right? Oh, look at you, you handsome boy. Oh, that's a great one. God, it's so beautiful. Look at that. What a beautiful manicure. I love her little mittens. They're so cute. She's got the perfect little mittens. Oh, Jesus. Look. Oh, boy, you. She's so great. Looking for the perfect sun rays, of course, because she's a cat. Oh, look at that. Look at you, sweetheart. She's fine. Oh, there she goes. Right in the sunshine. Oh, pretty lady. There's nothing better than the cat donut. Oh, we love you guys. Mork and Mindy madness. Mork and Mindy madness. Yeah, that's pretty great. That's frameable. Can I just say that? That's a pretty cool shot. Oh, look at you guys. Thank you so much, Melly C, for that. So great. Steve Mac 3 says the amp was in a rundown building. I bet you it was a rehearsal place or a studio about an hour away. Next time you should, because that's a piece of rock history. I mean, Missing Persons never became a big band or anything like that, but they're infamous, you know. And they were all part of Frank Zappa's band. That's where they came from. Missing Persons. Everybody that was in Missing Persons was a Zappa musician, which is some kind of credibility. From the incomparable Becky Brown. Kyoto, I bring you Japan. Look how beautiful that is. Look at the cherry blossoms. Amazing. Absolutely. Everyone who goes to Japan is just gobsmacked by it. I've never heard anybody return from Japan and said anything other than it was a magical experience. The culture is just incredible. And Japanese food is pretty great. Now, I don't eat animals, but I do eat, I love vegetable sushi. I love a shinko pickle. I love avocado rolls. I told you about that thing that I get from this place, even though it's not exactly, it's Japanese, but it's not. It's got it's got mozzarella in it, which is delicious. But the woman is from Tokyo who makes the stuff. Those are beautiful. Look at that. Those are so beautiful. I also heard that Japan is the best smelling place people have ever been. They say when you get off the plane, other than when people get to Hawaii, because they get delays, but I've heard that it's such a fragrant, beautiful, fragrant country that the air seems clean and fresh. For me, the best air I've ever smelled was Swiss, but because it just smelled fresh and clean. But I could imagine. Beautiful stuff. Look at that temple. Oh, look at the candles. I bet you lit a bunch of candles because we know you. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Becky Brown. That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ray. A picture for you. Okay, here we go. Oh, look at this lovely puppy. This is from Raphael, our very own Ray Ray. Hey, Ray Ray. Ray Ray. Whatever happened to Ray Ray? That delicate fisherman's friend, as it clung to his net, he gave up whiskey and cigarettes because he wanted to bash just the same. Look how beautiful that country is. A beautiful dog, of course. Is that a Samoyed? And that, look, that's Ireland. That stuff just exists there. Isn't that crazy? Thank you, Ray Ray. More pictures from Ray Ray. It's fine. Send as many pictures as you want. Oh, look at this thing. Because he's closer to marine life than we will ever be. Give yourself over to absolute bashers. Swim the warm waters, the sins of the flesh. Erotic daydreams beyond any measure. And sensual daydreams to treasure forever. Beautiful, Ray Ray. And a picture for you, Ray Ray. Oh, look at this. There's the man himself. There he is. There he is himself. Look at that. Where is this? Is it in Spain or something? 'Tis not Ireland. Look at that. Where are you there? Is that you clean shaven? Jesus Christus. Can't tell. Doesn't look like ye. Look at the color. Look at all the different rope and stuff. Amazing. Where is it? It looks like you're in, where is that? Like Marina del Rey? It looks like California to me. Where is that? Tell me, Ray Ray. Tell me more. Tell me more. Like, did he have a boat? Watch of the day and a dog of the day from our very own Jim Lassick. Oh, wee, kazowie. What a great shot. Oh. Look at that. Look at that big baby. And look at that big baby. Hey, handsome Jim. What a cute puppy. What a sweet puppy. That's a whole lot of bourbon in the house. And the watch isn't so bad. Look at this. First watch. The first watch of the day. Crazy. Of course, it's Daytona on an oyster flex. Beautiful. Look at the size of his wrist. Jesus Christ. He's got forearms. You got like almost like Steve Garvey forearms. That's crazy. We love you, Jim Lassick. Amazing. Manny Perez is here. Cheers, my friend. I got back on Saturday night after 10 days traveling in 3 countries, Geneva, Paris, and London. I watched them all, my friend. Listen, I'm just going to make a couple of statements here. Your sense of style is outrageous. Outrageous. It's not niche. It's called beautifully dressed. Hey, look, here's the whole big gang. Look at everybody there. Oh, look at that. How fun is that? Look at that. Beautiful stuff. Beautifully attired. And of course, next to the legend. Amazing. Amazing shots. Look at this guy. Look at this well-appointed gentleman. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I was every single time I was watching the videos, I was like, look at Manny's. How many blazers did he bring with him? Look at it. You have a black suit, beautiful crisp white shirt. Look at that. Perfect shoes. Look at this. This is a guy that doesn't fuck around. My God, look at this. Gorgeous piece. Amazing. Look at this. Jesus, were you buying? Oh, you were getting fitted. Were you getting fitted? Were you getting fitted? Wow. Look at that. Where were you? Where was that? Great. Beautiful. Oh, look at this. Look at this stylish guy. Where were you? Where'd you go? Look at that. I mean, this is a guy who knows how to get dressed up. Look at him. This is his casual style, by the way. Casual style. Look at that. Oh, terrific. There you go. That's fantastic. You're both quite the dandy. Can I just say that? Look at it. And can we just talk about Shovel and his reclamation of his personal style? First of all, I said this a long time ago. I said he's a very, very handsome man. He was just very overweight. And look at him now. Look at him now. He's looking fantastic. He is makeover of the century. Now, we don't need to talk about, oh my God. Always impeccable and crazy. But you guys are styling and looking great. Absolutely amazing. Amazing. Look at that. Great shot. I didn't realize Red Shovel was that tall. Wow. Terrific. I love your sunglasses, Manny. Amazing. Amazing. Great shots. Thank you, buddy. Beautiful. Impeccably dressed. You know, without going over the top, without being eccentric, you are wearing the clothes. The clothes are not wearing you, which is always a big mistake by a lot of people. Kay and Cow. Here's from our Drooby Doo. You know who's not on today's show? Dean. We're thinking of you. Look at Kay and Cow. Look at the fur growing back. She's looking so good. Now she looks like she's wearing a mink stole or a stone martin. Look at her. Look, Kay and Cow on the carpet. Prayers for Gus. Big prayers for Gus. Big prayers for Gus. Andy M says sartorial elegance, Manny, 100%. Look at that. Look at her. Look at you, beautiful baby. And there's Cow. Her best friend, I'm saying. Oh, that was in Australia. Look at that. Cool. Beautiful shot. Thank you, Drooby Doo. Thank you for that. And the Gallery of Bashtards, two of my favorite things. His Hamilton and a great Kerrygold. There is no such thing as butter unless it has Kerrygold on it. Now, the funny story is, I think I've told the story before, but for those who didn't hear it, many years ago, I was in Ireland. I think it was 2017. And we had a layover. We were all going to Italy. And we stayed over. Jer was nice enough to put us up, Jer O'Malley. And we went to the Duns to go do a bit of for the messages. And so we get to Duns, and she goes, "Oh, Dirk, go get us a butter." So I went, and I brought back a big brick of Kerrygold. She goes, "Oh, put that back. Just go get regular butter." And I said, "What do you mean regular butter? I'm in Ireland. It's Kerrygold." She goes, "It's all Irish butter." And she was right. She was right. And that was way more expensive. By the way, that might be the most beautiful Hamilton ever. It's just so beautiful. I love that watch. My God, is that gorgeous. Oof. I'm telling you, I love a polished bezel. I love the way that looks. Look at that with the crown guard. That watch is gorgeous. I love the way the day and the date are together up at the top. I gushed over this the last time you had it. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And look how perfect it looks on you, Drooby Doo. Amazing. Yeah, we're all Hamilton fans. Let's face it, we're all Hamilton fans. And that's it. That's the Gallery of Bastards. Great one today. Thanks, guys. Gallery of Bastards. Boom.
The Gallery of Bashtards. Send me the shots that sublime the absurd. The Gallery of Bashtards. You share them with me, and I share with the world.
Legends watches. Good evening, gents. What a nice kitty. Welcome. It's the end of the show, but it's great to see you there. At least you got to see one great watch. You missed. We didn't do a lot of watches tonight. We don't always have to. It doesn't really matter. Jim Lassick and his beautiful Daytona, rose gold Daytona on an oyster flex. Miami Manny and dude, this is, you wear the clothes. The clothes don't wear you. Some people overdo it. They get crazy with the way, with their personal style and stuff. You just look like a gentleman. Beautiful. And I am, listen, I'm a big, I have a pair of Skechers in my house, but I would never wear them with a suit. I saw that going on. There are athletic footwears, there are casual footwears, and you chose beautifully. They look like they might be Bally or something like that. I could tell that they were beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Sartorial elegance, Manny. What a face on that pup. The white wolf. Very cool, Mrs. Brown. She's got a lovely rundown building. I'm guaranteeing you that was a rehearsal facility or something like that. Julian, you are the master. Of course he is. And Andy, I love that. That Hamilton, that's one of those. That is one of the most beautiful designs of a watch I've ever seen. And that includes Rolex and Omega and Patek and all of them. Or as they say on the those despicable shorts where everybody's just trying to screw everybody out of their money. Pateks. Why do they say, does anybody know? I'll close the show out on this thought. Does anybody know why people say paddock? And should it drive me as crazy as it does? It drives me bananas when they say paddock. Yo, I'm going to get a paddock Calatrava. I got a 5711 paddock. It just drives me bananas. And you see all those guys, those hustlers, the guy, that one guy, the young guy. I like John Buckley. I like that guy. He's cool. He knows what he's talking about. You know, he had 1075, a bunch of cool shit. He's got a lot of cool stuff on his thing. But the paddock thing is, they all say it, and it's always the bros with the paddock. Just go. It's crazy. Embarrassed to say I have never tried Irish butter. Do you recommend salted? Unsalted butter is for sociopaths. So never, ever get an unsalted. I bake with salted butter. I don't get I'll buy it if they're out of the salted. But Carlos, boy, it's going to change your life, man. It's yellow like you've never seen yellow before. And it's 100% grass-fed. It's got no kind of hoo-ha in it. It's completely organic. It's great stuff. And it'll change your life. It melts differently. It's creamy and delicious. And listen, I know I'm Irish and all that stuff, but I've bought all the butters. President, the French butter. The Italians have no idea how to make butter. Their butter is god awful. I tried the one from Emilia Romagna, the really fancy one. That's like, you know, it's made by the same people who make Parmigiano Reggiano, and it tasted like nothing. Never buy unsalted butter. Ew, ew, yuck, yuck. Ew, 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 yuck, yuck. Good night and good luck until our next gathering. And to Gus, cheers to Gus. Let's all raise a glass. And to our dear friend, we wish you the best today. And we hope that everything goes well and that hopefully he's getting the treatment that he deserves. And here's to Gus. We're thinking about you today, buddy boy. And thank you guys. Thanks for a great show. Thank you so much. Kerry always salted. Of course, salted. Unsalted butter is for sociopaths. And that is a quote, direct quote from Emmett O'Malley. We were talking about baking. I said, do you salt it or unsalted? He goes, that's for sociopaths, Dirk. So that's the best part about running your own show, is that you can nick people's phrases. But I always credit them because that's the way to do it. Guys, always say please and thank you. Remember to hold the door open. If you encounter somebody who's not so nice, give them the benefit of the doubt. Let them hang themselves. You're going to give them all the possibilities. You're going to be kind. You're going to be sweet. You're going to be cooperative. All those things. Let them prove themselves to be a total louse, because you never know. You might run into a person who's having a bad day. Just give them a break, because they could be the greatest person in the world. And if they're not, maybe they're just a cunt.